Hello and welcome back to another episode of Money Mama Talks by Money Mama Club. I am Danika Maia. I'm the founder of Money Mama Club. And if you are at all confused about what Money Mama Club is, it is a community for women where we try to empower each other to hustle creatively. We are sex and money positive, and we believe in doing the right thing. We believe in education, open communication, and fairness. And we use this interview series, Money Mama Talks, as a platform to highlight empowering women who are doing amazing things in fields such as artistry, activism, sex work, media, music, business, and much, much, much more. Today, I am going to be speaking with a personal friend of mine and a very inspiring woman named Micala Brown. And she is an activist and artist from New York and Denmark, Copenhagen. I'm going to ask her on now, and the general format of this show is I ask people to introduce themselves, and then I ask just follow-up questions based on how they identify and introduce themselves in the beginning. So, without further ado, Micala, please now. Sorry if this is a little shaky.
Hello.
Hello, darling. I'm so happy to see you. How are
Yeah, you
you?
too. I'm good. How are you?
Everything is good. I'm enjoying actually having a winter season for the first time in like 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Um, it has, yeah. I definitely did not experience snow and gray and darkness in LA for the past 4 years. So this is
Yeah.
my first winter back, and it's actually kind of nice.
Yeah,
It's
the
good.
lakes are frozen, right?
Yeah, I just went out and saw it. I first saw it on Instagram. That's how I knew it
Yeah.
was true. And then I went out and saw it in real life just yesterday. So that was super nice.
Oh, so cute. I love that.
But I'm excited to have you on. So for people watching, yeah, Mikola and I are friends IRL in real life. And
Yes.
so I'm super happy to hear about what you've been doing work-wise in New York and furthermore, just about your life in general. So let's start by having you introduce yourself, who you are, where you live, and what you do in any capacity.
Yes. My name is Micala Brown. I am 25. I live in New York. I was actually living in Copenhagen for 9 years, and that's where me and Danica met. Um, and yeah, I'm Danish American and I am an artist, I'm an organizer, and then I'm an activist as well. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here in Brooklyn.
Amazing. And I see you've been super active on social media, and I'm very interested in the role that social media has played in activism over the past year, especially. Can you tell me what organizations you work with and how your activism plays out either online or in real life, IRL?
Yes, absolutely. So I work with two organizations. I work with one called the Black Women's Collective, which is a safe space for Black women. And I work with another organization that I actually co-founded and I'm the social media manager of called Justice for LGBTQ plus in NYC shelters. So it's really securing, the LGBTQ plus community in shelters like a safe place to live or give them safe people to talk to, just create a community that yeah, is powerful and beautiful and gives back. Social media has definitely played a huge, huge, huge part in activism in general the past year, especially because of the pandemic. Like people have been doing a lot of work in the streets. I've been going to protests. I know a lot of my friends have been going to protests, which is great, but there are also all of these initiatives where people are signing, documents. They're literally writing letters to their mayors and senators and all of that good stuff, which is amazing. And the way that you find out, or the way that I've found out through about these things, is literally through social media, is through the people that you're following on Instagram. And I think it's really great that you can kind of cater your feed to, you know, these issues that are super, super important. So you're getting this information, the information that you should be getting and that, you know, you're interested in hearing about and interested in making a change about. So yeah, and also just like obviously graphics, like things that catch your eye are super important. And I've learned that by working with the Black Women's Collective and working with my own organization. Is just like you have to have something that people are like, oh wait, what is this? You know, clickbait pretty much. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you tell me what Black Women Collective is all about and the other organization that you are working with, the name again, and what exactly that mission is as well?
Yes, absolutely. So the Black Women's Collective is all about just like creating a safe space for Black women. It's a positive space to recharge. You know, it's a community in reality. So it's this platform that we have, and we will do, you know, cute little things like Tea Time Tuesday, where there'll be two members of the Black Women's Collective sitting on live and answering a bunch of questions that some Black women have sent in regards to, you know, like sex life or romance or even politics, religion, you know, all of these things. And we try to really just put a positive twist on everything because there is so much negativity going around. And especially being a Black woman in America, but like in the world in general, it's difficult. You know, it's really hard to maneuver through life as a Black woman, and you know, colorism within the community and all of these things are just really, really difficult things to kind of swallow sometimes. So it's nice to be able to have a space where you can be positive and focus on the beautiful things, you know, about being a Black woman. And so the other organization, yeah. And so the other organization is called Justice for LGBTQ plus in NYC Shelters. It's a little bit of a mouthful.
It is, but that's good.
Yeah, but it definitely is about like we're a new organization, so we're budding, you know, but we have the support of some really, really great organizations, some big organizations actually in New York, like Justice for George NYC supports us. They were actually like a like key role in getting all the organizers together. So they promote, you know, our flyers when we have protests. They help us if we're missing like a megaphone or anything like that. You know, they're always super willing to get people to rally. So that's really, really important. And yeah, like our mission is really just we want in reality to 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 have shelters be a safe place for all the houseless individuals that are in NYC and like also in America in general, right? Because there's so much violence perpetuated towards LGBTQ plus individuals,
Yeah.
and there's so much hatred, and it's incredible. We actually, one of our organizers is in a shelter, and you know he's been attacked, and that was one of the driving factors. Was, you know, he had reached out to Justice for George, and was like, we need to do something. And so all the organizers kind of jumped on and were like, we need to do something. We need to get, you know, our voices heard. And so also in the protests, we actually do them up in Harlem, which has been very interesting because we figured we would do it up there because a lot of the protests that have been going on in the Lower East Side, for example, or in Brooklyn. And they're primarily, you know, white dominated spaces, I would say. And they're also primarily liberal spaces. So people aren't hearing a new message. You know what I mean? Like we're kind of just in this echo chamber where everyone agrees and it's like, yes, this is great, you know. But
Right.
we were
Exactly.
thinking, yeah, and we were thinking that we would, you know, move on to some other places in New York. For example, Harlem. There's a big community up there that honestly isn't 100% down with LGBTQ people, you know? So being able to stand up there and say, hey, like we're here and we have something to say, has been really powerful and like also scary at times because like we've literally had like almost gotten into fights, like had glass bottles
Yeah.
thrown at us, you know? So it's I don't know, it's worth it though at the end of the day, right? Because it's, you know,
Of
everyone
course.
deserves a safe place to like sleep at night, you know?
Yeah. What have so there have been a lot of I read briefly about this homeless shelter situation in LA during COVID that
Mm-hmm.
the policies for social distancing were affecting shelters. How has that affected shelters in New York? Because there's not allowed as many people in one space. So how is that affecting homeless shelters
Right. Yes.
in New York?
So definitely, I mean, obviously it is affecting because there can't be as many people. Like you said, the capacity is lessened, is lowered, and that means that there are more people who are literally on the streets. Something else that's really interesting is that I actually saw that the MTA is they're trying to implement this, you can use your credit card to scan in to
Hmm.
the subway instead of having a Metro card. And this is something that actually is totally like excluding a whole populace of people, like people who don't have a credit card, people who are homeless, people who like rely literally on the transit system to stay alive. They're also removing benches from the subway stations specifically because they don't want houses people to sleep on them.
To sleep
And
on them, yeah.
it's absolutely insane. So I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's this like certain type of architecture that is like excluding people. That is, it's just so wild to me. But yeah, COVID has definitely, um, pushed forward this problem of like they can't have too many people in the shelters. There are people that are in the streets, and also the fact that
Yeah.
people have lost their jobs. So there are more houseless people than ever.
Yeah.
And it's really frightening because we're in a situation where I could be the next houseless person, honestly. You know what I mean? Like if I lose my job, I'm sitting in an apartment, I have to pay rent. If I can't pay my rent, what am I going to do? you know
Right.
so it's a very relevant problem that I think a lot of people aren't really realizing or I don't know, tuned into. So I'm happy
Yeah.
that to like I don't know, be speaking on it and to be shouting in these streets.
Absolutely. I posted today, and I know that you post a lot of crowdsourcing and mutual funds for displaced people during COVID or people who are just in general having housing and general basic need issues. And they're doing GoFundMe's. And I posted today that GoFundMe is actually now being like, yo, we're not supposed to be we are not socialism in a box. Like we're not supposed to be providing basic needs for people. What do you see on the streets there of, yeah, why are people resorting to making GoFundMe's for basic needs and how does that feel to be promoting these scholarships or funds for
Mm.
people to just live.
Yeah, it's like honestly, even just hearing those words come out of your mouth, you know what I mean? It's just like really shocking to me, even though like I see it every day. Like it's pretty wild that people have to literally set up a GoFundMe and have to have people donate to them to buy
Yeah.
groceries.
Hmm.
Like we're here in America, it's very like even I'm in the situation of sometimes it's like pay my rent or eat. And it's like we just the system is so broken. The system is so broken, and it's really really being kind of like it's being exposed right now, right? Like the amount of people, and I saw actually that article that you were talking about, the amount of people
Hmm.
that are setting up GoFundMe's for basic needs is just absolutely insane and through the roof. um
Yeah.
it breaks my heart, honestly, but it's also if you can kind of flip it, like there is some sort of community and some sense of beauty in it because we are really, really helping each other. Like there are people that are, getting funds to be able to transition all the way or,
Yeah.
to pay their rent or to, get a flight ticket to go see their mother that they haven't seen for a year or whatever it may be. Like we're actually being able to have this community is giving people the opportunities to do things that maybe they wouldn't be able to do if they didn't have, a GoFundMe or didn't have a social media page where they could say, hey, listen, I need help, you know?
Hmm.
And it's hard to ask for help. Like
Yeah,
it's
it really is.
really, yeah, it's really difficult to ask for help. So I have so much respect for these people that are creating these fundraisers for themselves or on behalf of other people, whatever it may be, because it's it's survival, you know, like we're trying to survive, and
Yeah.
this is a tool that you can use, and if you can use it, like go for it, you know, because there are people out there, there are plenty of people out there's enough money to go around. There is. So like if you can make a GoFundMe and it's a legit reason, you know what I mean? Like not like, I don't know. I saw this,
Yeah.
you know, like the Gorilla
What did you
Glue.
see?
I literally saw like the Gorilla Glue girl that like had, you know, put Gorilla Glue in her hair. Like she genuinely messed up, you know? And then there was another guy that had created a GoFundMe with the gorilla, like the exact same thing. He was like, "Oh, I put Gorilla Glue in my hair," and it was so obviously fake. And I was just like, dude, don't
That's not,
like this is
this
not
is
what it's
not,
about.
it's not what it's about.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I saw you, so the last time I saw you in person was now almost a year ago.
I
But I
know.
know that you experienced, I know I'm so sad, but I know that you experienced the Black Lives Matter movement both in Denmark and in the States,
Hmm.
so in Europe and the States. I'd be super interested to hear what your thoughts are on the differences between the two places and how things played out, and if you want to elaborate further on your experience after the summer, how it's been continuing, because we're starting to hear less about it now as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been really interesting because the protests started in America when I was actually in Denmark. So I wasn't
Mm.
able to like join the protest. Like I was watching everything happen, and I was really upset that I wasn't at home and like being able to be in the streets and like scream and holler and you know all that good stuff. But and then I was also frustrated that there wasn't anything in Denmark, you know, because oh, and this is a you know this is a deep thing because there's so much involved, like they're like in Europe in general, like I think people have an idea that social injustice isn't a thing, because we have the social system where the state takes care of you, you know, everyone is comfortable, everyone is safe in reality, right? So racism, for example, like that doesn't exist. But it's like, for me, Denmark is one of the most racist places I've ever experienced. You know, there is so much xenophobia and so much racism that is just like embedded in deep in the culture and is not talked about. And if it is talked about, it's kind of just brushed under the rug, like, you know, oh, that's not what they meant, kind of thing. Oh, don't worry
Mm-hmm.
about it. Like you're just completely, I don't know, just not heard.
Gaslit,
Gaslit,
kind of.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Because it's, yes, absolutely. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with white Danes that are just like, oh, like, that's not what they meant. They probably meant it like this, and like pat me on the shoulder and then like move on with the conversation, where I'm just like, I don't know, this something's not right here. You
Mm.
know? So, yeah, being in Denmark during the pandemic and seeing all of the commotion and all of the you know protests that were happening in America, I was really frustrated that Denmark wasn't kind of getting into it. I was like, hey, come on, like you guys were the first ones to lock down in regards to COVID. Like we're all this is also a crisis. This is also a pandemic. Like let's talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
And then so when they finally did, and Bawalya Saranson, you know, had this huge Black Lives Matter demonstration where 25,000 people showed up, you know, that was amazing. I was so happy. And I was just like, oh my God, like I felt so liberated and I felt so proud. And like walking through the streets and just like having brown people, Black and brown people kind of prioritized for once, you know, like
Mm.
was just such a beautiful, liberating feeling. And then after that, you know, the protests were fewer and fewer, and less
Yeah.
people showed up. And the same thing in America. When I came back, I only went to like two protests in Denmark because there were only two before I had to go back to New York. So when I got
Hmm.
back to New York, you know, I'm joining all these protests. I'm out there in the streets. I'm like, most of the time, or like a lot of the time, I was going alone, you know, because I didn't have that many friends in New York, or because my, you know, the people I was around were busy or doing something else, or honestly genuinely weren't interested, you know? So, yeah, so that was a beautiful time going to protests and finding community and finding people that are like-minded and feel the same way and whatnot. But again, like as the, summer progressed, after Biden won especially, protests started dying down like
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like it was like Justice for George would post flyers about how many protests there were, and it was every day like 10 protests, like Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, like everywhere, all across the city. And now when they post, it's like 7 p.m. Manhattan here, 7 p.m. Brooklyn here, 7 p.m. Queens or wherever it is. So it's like 3 protests a day, which is not bad. It's great that they're still going on.
Right. But you
But
definitely have seen the drop since people think it's
absolutely.
fixed now with Biden. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's such a shame because it's not fixed, at all. Like the people that the cops that shot Breonna Taylor, no one, like, there's no justice. No one has taken accountability. No one has been held responsible. There is
No.
no justice, and we're still standing here fighting for the same things that we were fighting for from the start. And the idea to me that people are satisfied with the state of the world that we're in right now, yeah, the
Yeah.
system that is just so 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 fucked, to be honest,
Yeah.
is just beyond me. And obviously I struggle myself sometimes. Like I'm working all the time, 12 to 7 every day, every single day. So I can't make all the protests that I want to. If I could, I would be off every day and I'd be in the streets and I'd be organizing and I would be doing all the things that, obviously I want to be doing, but I don't have that time. So
No, and that's also a product of the system that makes you pay for every single thing. So yeah, exactly.
yeah, absolutely.
They don't want you to be politically activated because you can't. You have to request time off work to go to protests and things, and yeah, it's a struggle. How do you see, what is it like now in New York? I think people would be interested to know. Are things open? Are people going out to eat? Is there what's it like?
Yeah, so we actually just by Valentine's Day we actually just got indoor seating again. Woohoo!
Nice.
So so that's great. But pretty much everything is open, honestly. Everything's open. There's a 10 p.m.
Okay.
curfew. Um it's like I think things are much more shut down in Denmark than they are actually here in New York. Like,
It's shut down here. Like
yeah,
we're not doing anything.
yeah. And honestly, I feel like we need another lockdown because like COVID is still running rampant through the streets. Like I people are getting their vaccines, which is great. Essential workers are getting them. I have a couple of friends in the restaurant industry that have gotten theirs. My grandma got hers, which I'm so grateful for.
Nice.
But it's like COVID is still here. Businesses are
Yeah.
still struggling. We need like some package where we can just lock it down, have a minute, business is going to bail out and then come back when everything is safe, in my opinion. But yeah, we got indoor dining back, and I'm not going to lie, I did have a drink or two inside. So
It's nice. I
yeah,
miss it. Yeah, I miss it as well.
I miss it
Um,
so much.
we're not only defined by our jobs and our hobbies. I know you are working on a lot of different artistic things as well. So I want to give you ample time to tell us about your artistry as well and what you're working on outside of the grim world of activism, which is
Yeah.
very important work.
Yeah.
But we need light things in our lives as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I honestly have kind of like ignited this flame in creativity, and I've been painting a lot. So I have these kind of like patterns, and yeah, like I would paint when I was in like the most positive state of mind, exactly because like there's so much grim in the world, and I don't know, it's kind of easy to slip into this like depressive state.
Yeah, it
So
is.
yeah, so like when I was positive, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and paint. I'll drink a glass of red wine, have some
Mhm.
me time, just enjoy myself. And I've been painting some things that I was actually really proud of and I really liked and used some beautiful colors. And then I was thinking to myself, like, okay, what am I gonna do with this? Like I have these paintings. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna sell them? Am I gonna make prints? What's the deal? And I kind of came to the conclusion that I want to start my own brand. What I really find interesting is being able to kind of see the process of an artist. So I have these paintings that I've made and I'm still making them. And then what I'm doing is actually getting them printed onto different fabrics, the different textiles. And then I'm using those textiles to create garments. So far I've made like some headscarves, and I'm like testing out these little scrunchies that I'm making. I really do want to be able to make like a set, like have like a headscarf, a top, and then like a cute little skirt that are all kind of the same pattern. And yeah, just the thought that like you can see the inspiration from the painting in the clothing that I'm making is something that I find really, really interesting and really exciting. And yeah, it's great to like create something with your hands and be able to say like I'm literally wearing things and being like I made this, you know,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty cool. And honestly, like I like my designs, so
I think that, yeah, I hope, or at least I hope that everything that has happened and all of us opening our eyes to capitalism will inspire people to just start buying from each other again and going back to like market life and your tribe and your community. Like, we
yes,
really need to get back to some basics. I mean, they're already forcing us to, like you said, with the crowdfunding and things like that. But with artistry as well, I think that's so important that we just start buying from each other again and yeah,
yeah,
supporting each
absolutely,
other on the very, very, very like lowest levels wherever we're at. So
yeah,
where can we find you in all capacities? This is your shameless plug
yes.
moment, and then I will let you go.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram at MikaFreak_studios. That's my art page. There's a bunch of sneak peeks on what I'm working on in regards to clothing. You can see some of my paintings as well. I'm actually selling prints as well on a page called Art XBLM. All of that is in my Instagram. You can find links to it and whatnot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Buy my shit. Like I'm taking
Perfect.
commissions. Like I will send to Denmark. I'll send it internationally, whatever it
Love
is.
it.
I thought about doing an Etsy too. But I think honestly, I'm just going to create a website and like sell off of there. Because I have like a
Yeah.
very specific aesthetic and idea that I kind of want to go forth with. So,
Just, yeah, exactly. You are the boss of your destiny, and I'm so excited to buy. And yeah, send me any links
oh my gosh,
where I can.
absolutely.
I'm gonna be rocking everything.
I got
Thank
you.
you so much, Micala. I love
Thank you
you,
for having
and
me.
I
Love
will.
you.
All of this will be up on the Money Mama. It'll be up here on my profile, the Money Mama Club website, YouTube, Instagram, all the places.
All of
So
it.
thank you for joining us, and everybody tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.